Hitchhiking is the ultimate adventure because you'll never know what will happen next. It might be the best time ever, or it might equally go terribly wrong. Tonight's true stories are the ones that went terribly wrong. I'm joined by special guests, the GrimTale Brothers, and tonight we're going to be bringing you some scary hitchhiking stories. In the late 1970s, my uncle was studying medicine at the University of Chicago. After a morning class, he decided he would hitchhike back home to Lincoln Park on the north side instead of paying for a taxi. A man drove up in a Plymouth Satellite and offered my uncle a ride. The man looked normal and seemed friendly, light-hearted even, so my uncle got in the car and they started driving towards Lakeshore Drive. Once they got there, the man drove south on Lakeshore instead of north, towards Lincoln Park. My uncle told the man he was going the wrong way and to turn around and head north. The man looked at my uncle, put his hand on his knee, and said, "No, son, you're coming with me," and smiled darkly at him. My uncle froze in panic, and when they hit traffic near the South Shore, my uncle quickly unlocked the passenger door and ran away without looking back. A year or two later, on a cold December day, my uncle was having coffee in a cafe with my future aunt when he caught something on the TV that made his blood run cold. He saw the man that picked him up from school that day the year before. He had been arrested for the suspected rape and killing of over 20 young men and boys. The man on the television was John Wayne Gacy, and he had removed the door handle off the passenger side to prevent the men he picked up from escaping. I was driving a shortcut from 29 Palms, California to Albuquerque, New Mexico. 29 Palms is located in a desolate high desert east of LA. The shortcut was all two-lane road through total nothingness, except for passing through Amboy, California. Amboy is a nearly abandoned town, nearly as far as below sea level as Death Valley, with a dormant volcano and lava field on one side, and a salt flat on the other. It was also, at the time, a hotspot for satanic group activity. So I was driving by myself in the afternoon. I stopped in at Amboy and snapped a picture of the city sign, just to prove that I was there to friends who dared me to take the route to I-40. I got back in my car and proceeded to drive up into the mountain range between Amboy and I-40. Once I reached the top, I'm driving north through a canyon with high grass on both sides of the road. Up ahead, I see some stuff in the middle of the road. As I approach, I slowed down to see a red Pontiac Fiero stop sideways across both lanes, a suitcase with clothes scattered everywhere, and two bodies laying face down in the road, a man and a woman. I stop 100 feet away or so, and the hair on the back of my neck is standing up. Being a Marine, I reach under the seat and pull out a 9mm pistol and chamber a round. Something seemed very wrong. It looked too perfect, as if it were staged. Something was just wrong. I couldn't work it out. Getting out of the car seemed unthinkable. It was the horror movie move. As I scanned the road, I saw a line I could drive. I passed the back of the Fiero without hitting it or either of the bodies in the road. I continued forward for a couple of 100 feet and slowed down so I could breathe and let my heart slow down. As I looked up in the rearview mirror, I saw that the two bodies had gotten up to their knees and 20 or so people emerged from the tall grass on either side of the road by the car and bodies. At that moment, my right foot smashed the gas pedal to the floor and did not stop until I had to slow down for the I-40 East on-ramp. A couple of years back, my best friend and I went on a road trip to the States for a music festival. We met up with some of our friends, saw lots of things and whatnot. One of our friends came back home with us. He needed to get back home for school and his buddies didn't want to head home yet. We decided to drive straight home in shifts. It took 24 hours for the full drive. So I'm driving the night shift at about 2 AM. It's a beautiful clear night, full moon, no clouds, the middle of summer party type night. While noticing all of these conditions, I also noticed that we followed the GPS onto a back road and driven into a huge valley. Open fields, not another car or house in sight, and it's important to note that we haven't seen anyone or anything relating to human presence for a few hours. Upon entering the valley, we lose our GPS signal. No radio, no cell, nothing. About 20 minutes after entering this valley and after losing all our connections, we come upon a bridge. As we get closer, I see a car pulled out on the side of the road. Not uncommon, people sleep in pullouts when they can. What is uncommon is that this car had all its windows blacked out. With all of the light from the moon, we should be able to see at least partially inside, but it was completely black. Getting closer, we also realised that it has no license plate that we can see. We assumed it was just abandoned out here in the boonies. This is until we pass the vehicle, and almost immediately, its lights turn on, and it pulls out on the road behind us. The vehicle starts tailgating us in the middle of nowhere, and we can't see who's inside or anything. I start to get an uneasy feeling, subtle at first, but growing stronger. I don't frighten easy, but something about this made me fear for our lives. I keep driving until I see something in the middle of the road. Almost on cue, this car backs off as I and my companions try to make out what's in the middle of the road. Coming closer, we see what looks like a body laying in the middle of the lanes. This isn't a big road, and like I said, it was also a back road. It was still paved, but very small. At this moment, and at the sight of what appears to be a body in the road ahead, we start freaking out. I in no way am stopping for no one in this desolate and isolated area. There are no other vehicles around other than the one following us, and I can see no housing or lights for as far as the eye can see. No cell service to call for help, no satellite to find our way to the nearest hospital, or police. Nothing. I quickly tell the others that I'm not stopping, and I'm going around it, or through it. By this time, we're almost on it. There's no room to go around, as there's no shoulders on the road, and deep ditches on both sides, but we are close enough now to see what it is. It's a scarecrow. I drove over the top and onwards. This car, small enough to go around it, continues to follow. I speed up. It speeds up. I slow down. It slows down. Until I punch it. After about 2 minutes of this, the car slows down, does a U-turn, and drives back. Now my passenger turns to me and says, "I swear I saw spikes in that thing." Lucky for us, we were driving a huge truck. The wheel span was bigger than the scarecrow on the road, and we never even touched it.
A recently married couple were on a long road trip through the heart of the United States. One night, it was raining hard, and the headlights of their car flashed across a bearded man on the side of the road hitchhiking. Not usually one for picking up hitchhikers. The husband stopped and pulled over to offer the guy a lift because the weather was so bad. The man thanked the husband and climbed in the back of the car. He seemed agitated and edgy, barely speaking a word for the whole journey. Eventually, the couple dropped him off where he asked, at a crossroads. The rain was still coming down in sheets. The couple drove on for a good while, and to pass the time, the husband turned on the radio. The couple heard a news report about an escaped lunatic, considered very dangerous, who should not be approached under any circumstances. The description matched the hitchhiker, and the couple looked at each other, clearly shocked, but happy nothing bad had occurred. Just then, the car gave out, and no amount of keying the ignition would make it start again. The husband tells his wife to stay in the car while he sets off through the rain to try to get help. The woman locks the doors and wants to listen to the radio, but the car battery seems dead. Eventually, she dozes off. A while later, she wakes up seeing flashing police lights through the water coming down the windshield and a voice through a loudspeaker.
"Lady, open the door. Get out of the car and run towards us as fast as you can. Do it now."
The woman is confused. but she gets out of the car with her hands above her head.
Run and don't look back.
Orders the police officer. But the woman is curious and turns. In the flashing blue lights of the police car and illuminated by flashes of lightning, she sees the top of the car where the hitchhiker with a machete is hacking at the dismembered corpse of her husband. Blood is streaming down the sides of the car. She screams and faints as a flurry of gunshots ring out.
That brings us to the end. I just want to give a special thanks to the GrimTale Brothers for their help on this video. If you liked it, please give the video a thumbs up and let me know what you thought in the comments below. Be sure to head over to the GrimTale Brothers as well. Their link is in the description below. Head over to their channel for a unique reading of an Australian story on their latest video. Thank you guys so much for being awesome. I'll see you guys in the next one.